performance is what it says. Okay.
Now we
I
are
can
live.
see performance on both channels. Now
Yes.
we are live and ready to live. Well, we're live. And today is a very special day for many, many people. And that is you made it to the end of the year and no one, well, maybe, anyways, you're still alive, you're still kicking, and you still got energy in the tank. Well, maybe you feel a little bit, lazy today because today is kind of one of those, relax, and maybe you're out in a deer stand. In fact, I really hope, because it's very early in the morning for a lot of people in the US. Right now, I'm located in Europe, so it's later in the afternoon, but you might be sitting in your deer stand this morning. And I hope as you're sitting there, you come across this live and you're able to listen and hang out with me for this session because as somebody who is a deer hunter myself, no, I love hunting, but that wasn't what I meant. What I was going to say is as someone who is um, worked through many years at different periods of my life, wishing that I had accomplished more, or wishing that, or saying to myself, that type of life, it just isn't in the cards for me. That type of success just isn't in my in the plan for my life. Or maybe God doesn't really care that I have that type of enjoyment about that area of my life, or something like that. And I have many years been in that exact position where I've been looking. I look back on the year and I was like, man, this was a fine year. And man, it would be so cool to be able to do that or that or that. And I started, man, okay, let me just roll back a little bit to 2008. It was the lowest year of my entire life, 2008. I was very proudly at that point in the United States Air Force. I was operating in my station in Spiesbach, Germany at the time. I was a dental laboratory technologist, and I just had gotten into my very first station, and was working that year, and I was alone for Christmas and New Year's, and that was an all time low in my life. 2000. I'm sorry, that was 2009, 2008. And then, yeah, then I got in the military and I spent a long, 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 long time in training. And then I went and I got sent to my first station there in Ramstein, Germany. I lived on Ramstein, Germany, and I worked in Spiesbach as a base. I don't even know if they have it opened anymore. I think maybe they closed it down. But I worked in Ramstein. I've lived in Ramstein and I worked in Spiesbach. And that winter I spent completely, utterly alone. And that was like, if you found yourself super alone, like, I mean, alone, like no family, no uh, significant other. Uh, yeah, there were some events and stuff going on at the base, but it's not the same. And they do really, really well, but it's not the same as having loved ones in your life near. And I remember standing on the balcony of my barracks apartment there, and they had a massive fireworks display on New Year's, and it was amazing. I mean, they put some money into those fireworks displays. But I remember standing there and just like, man, this is right where I am right now. I'm fine, and everything is, I've got a good salary, I've got a good job, I've got a good place to live, and warm and cared for and sheltered. But this is not the ultimate life I want. And it was a moment of very powerful clarity for me, where I said, I want a family. I want different types of success in different areas of my life. I want to be in better condition health wise. I want to be in better, even though, I mean, I was, what was I, 21 at that time, or 20? No, I was 20. I was 20 years old at that time, when I had just gotten into the Air Force, because I spent a few years going to school before I got into the Air Force. And I remember just being so alone that November. I'm sorry, that New Year's. And if you find yourself in that place right now, my heart goes out to you because it's not a place that you want to stay. It's a place that you acknowledge. I think there's a lot of value about being alone for a season, maybe, or maybe one New Year's, but then it's a point of reference whereby you can now take from that experience great depths of knowledge so you can understand what the heck you want the future to look like. And sometimes I this is something I value from Jordan Peterson. He says sometimes the negative motivator is far more powerful than the positive motivator. So, for example, if I have, this, if I get this job, and I will get this salary, and this my life will be so much better. Or if I don't apply for this job and I continue 7 more years doing something that I hate with people I don't care about, that in a business that has no real mission outside of itself, how much more negative and bitter will I be in my life? And how much less likely am I to be able to achieve something that I would rather have achieved in my life, or I would love to achieve, when I'm 7 more years bitter, or 7 more years of regret stacked up on my shoulders? And so using that negative, right, that very powerful negative motivator to say, hey, this is not what I want life to look like in the future. And that 2009, no, December 31st, 2009, standing on the balcony at midnight watching the firework display over the United States Air Force Base in Ramstein, Germany. And although it was beautiful, I was alone, very alone, just alone without people around me, but also alone in my heart. And I knew at that point I never wanted to be in that position ever again. And so it started to change things. And honest truth is, you put yourself where you are. Now, as hard as that might be to receive, maybe you've had you've had a string of bad luck, and you feel like life has just not been fair to you, and you're not where you want to be. Honestly, once I really grasped that life is not fair, and it never will be. It will never Life will never be fair. It really makes things a lot easier, because then you don't go around expecting everything to be fair. You expect to have to work really hard, and unjustly hard, to have to work in order to accomplish something that you want to be a part of your life, or to bring something into your life. And so it is those moments that you have a powerful level of clarity. By the way, if you're joining me on the live, please follow the channel and like the live on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, please grab the link and share it with a friend, because what we're going to be talking about today is really how to hammer in intentionality going forwards. If you're not happy with where you are, and there are some regrets that you look back on 2025 with, and you say, man, I wish the year would have gone better. I wish I would have been able to accomplish this by the end of this year. Then this is the place you should be right now. And like I said, if you're sitting in the deer stand listening with your earpods, waiting for that big buck to walk out, my heart is there with you, because I would love to be in the deer stand right now as well, but I don't have the opportunity today. I did a couple weeks ago. In fact, I was in Central Tennessee with my buddy Jake, and we got to hang out for about a week, and we had an incredible time. We got to go hunting over near Rockwood. There's a few really cool public land hunting areas. And I went over there with my buddy Jake, and took the 45-70 rifle out. And we spent a week in the woods, and my oldest son, Benjamin, and we got a nice little buck, and was so excited to be able to do that with a friend and with family. My brother also, he drove up there. He lives in Georgia near Atlanta, and hung out with him after that. But anyways, the point is, if you're looking at this year and you're looking forward, and you want to create something incredible in your life that just isn't there right now, first of all, this isn't some like, oh, you can do it speech, motivator speech. This is, you know what? I've been in sucky periods of my life too, just like you are, or just like you may be right now. And I've worked through some of those. I've worked through those and created something different. And and my point with that is you can too, but you can't do it without a specific intentionality and then process that you do day after day after day. And so, what I'm going to talk about in this master class, not master class, I'd say this is a master class, but really this is me reminiscing over the past year and kind of talking through what I have done right now to prepare for the year ahead. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jason Ellinger. I've been married for 16 years. That's my biggest and most prided achievement. I have 8 children. I have a multi-million dollar company called Taika Translations and the Vision People LLC, and we have been in business for about 11 years. We grew from a card table in my living room, kind of like this table, except this is a solid oak, really beautiful table, but but not this table exactly, but kind of like a table like this in my living room. We grew from that to a multi-million dollar company in a period of 11 years, actually 10 years, in a period of 10 years, by working and growing and applying the inform and the intentionality process that I am going to teach today. And so I really hope that as you listen, that you've got a pen and paper, that you're able to put some thought into this, that you're able to just kind of spend time with me in this specific moment of your year, so that we can look forward with confidence and say, when I have made this plan, will work. Not should work, it might work, but it will ultimately work, because what I have seen time and time again is um, that we are where we want to be. And as hard as that might be to hear, you and I are exactly where we've placed ourselves and where we want to be. So, by the way, my name is Jason Ellinger. If you haven't done so already, like the live and follow us on there. That would be really awesome. I'd really appreciate that. And if you are working towards building something and you want to build something greater in your life, please join me on here. And by the way, if I sound a little bit funny on YouTube, it's because I'm on TikTok as well. And I've got to make sure, like the live, I say like the live and follow and stuff like that to make sure that we're having some level of interaction with the TikTok. All right. Now, okay, so we talked about, you know, if you're coming out of a lonely situation, I've been there too, and it's not a nice place to be, and you can go further. However, right now, you have to understand that you are exactly where you want to be. Like, how so? I don't feel like I'm where I want to be. You're exactly where you want to be, because what the phrase from Albert Einstein is this. He says, the person who does not do does not truly know. And let that sink in for a second. If you have not established what you want and then aligned all of your activities to get you to that place, then maybe you don't truly want it. Maybe you fantasize about that. Maybe you would maybe it's a wish upon a star. But if you truly want something to be a reality in your life, then all of a sudden a level of intentionality must be introduced in order to make it become a reality. And once you do that, once you introduce that intentionality, all of a sudden your world becomes a vortex into that and charge and helps you to charge forwards. And so that's what this core this reminisce today is all about. And that's what I hope you get from this. And I hope you get an incredible amount of value, because this is what changed my life. This is literally what took me from that lonely guy standing, no relationships, disowned by my family, completely kicked out of all of those relationships that make someone whole and strong and make life meaningful, to I'm going to do life different. Period. And at the end of that sentence, you put that period and you look forward and you say, now, what do I want? But what do my actions say I want? And what am I willing to sacrifice in order to get there? And that those questions set the stage for you to be able to prosper. Because before that, you might be an introvert. I was very, very introverted and very, very shy from being on in any kind of spotlight whatsoever. But in order to change and become get more of the things that I wanted to be a reality in my life, I had to become different. Well, you don't have to become a different person altogether. You still have your unique personality, but some things are going to have to change. You're if you want to get a spouse and you're alone, well, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to make yourself attractive, and you're going to have to go find eligible people that and be in the places where eligible people are that can help you create the kind of life you want to create. And by the way, it might not be in the bar. Like for me, it was the church. I had to be in a church to find great ladies that might be eligible for me to be able to marry, to be able to create the life I wanted to create. And that's where I found one. But actually, I found one online, and obviously the girl was in church, and that was that was great. But it wouldn't have worked for us. It wouldn't have worked if we weren't both Christians, because I believe the Bible says don't be unequally yoked and don't marry somebody who's not a Christian. So that was my prerogative. It was like, okay, so where do I find that? Well, if I want that to be a reality for me, I have to go to church, and I have to, have to actually be attractive to ladies that would go to church. Well, what does that mean? Well, you can't just be some kind of a nut who hangs out at the bar. You actually have to be a man of substance or a woman of substance to be able to be attractive to the type of partner that you want to be married to. And so that starts to set the stage in your mind for exactly what you are now going to sacrifice to be able to bring those things into your life and to cause this reality of growth in this area. And so I really want to challenge you that if you're not where you are right now, that you're exactly where you want to be based on your actions and your activity. And as hard as that might be to hear, it's important for you to be here right now so that we can get where we want to be and maybe even change that trajectory. As I looked back on this year, hey, Shanna, I see you just popped in. It's really nice to see you joined here. Um, I see Scooter, you joined. I see some other people joined. Nice to see you. I see people kind of popping in and popping off as I'm talking. And so it's not that I don't see you. I appreciate you being here. And if you are here, like the live and follow and copy and send it to somebody who might find this useful. Because what I'm talking about today is really kind of reminiscing about 2025 a little bit, and then talking about how to get from stuck and broken to prosperous and fulfilled in the work that you're doing. Even if you don't find yourself in a situation where you're like, this is the optimal, perfect situation that I want to be in. For example, this year, as I worked through the goal, um, as I worked through the goals that my family and I set for 2025. And by the way, I have two cameras here. One is on TikTok, just in case you're wondering why I'm looking away from the camera, Shanna, because you're an awesome TikToker. Um, it's because I have two cameras right now, and so I don't want to leave the YouTube livers out either. So, all right, what was I talking about? That just distracted me for a second. Mm, because I was going over the goals with my family for 2025, and to be honest with all of you, this has not been an ideal year for us. I mean, we didn't accomplish everything that we set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year, but as we worked through the list of goals that we did accomplish for the year, we set these goals way back in 2024 to launch into 2025 and accomplish. And as we went through the list together as a family, so can you imagine? Imagine this scene. My 8 children sitting there in the big living room that we have on these two pretty dark leather couches, and my wife there, and all of them from aging I'm sorry, not 18, 15 years old, all the way down to 2 years old. And we have all these, some of them aren't sitting still. They're just kind of, the 2 year old, he's not sitting anywhere. He's just walking around doing all kind of funny stuff. Right. And so all of these people sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, and as we're going through these goals, they're looking up on the screen, and they know that we haven't accomplished everything for the year, but they are not aware of how many things we did actually accomplish that we wrote way back in 2024. And as we worked through the goals, there was like, it's like 85 to 90% of the goals that we wanted to accomplish we did. And it was so exciting with all these little sweet little children around and looking at the screen. I have a big projector in my living room where I bring the goals up on a projector screen in the front in the living room, and we go through the goals together. First, my wife and I, we go through our personal goal setting. We set the goals for the family, like the big ones, and the plan for the year. And then we take our children, and it's like, okay, just to train our children to achieve great levels of success in their life. Okay, here's the goals that we've created. These are the things that are going to happen. Now, what are your goals? Because leaders make goals first. That's it first. That's one of the principles I want to deliver to you today, is that leaders make goals first. You can't tell other people about goals. You can't counsel people to make goals and not have any real goals yourself. And this is very tempting. Honestly, the more successful you get, it's incredibly tempting to say, well, I got to this level, I don't need to make goals anymore. And it's a very big mistake, because if you make everybody else make goals and you don't make them yourself, then it makes you a hypocrite. And people that are hypocrites are really not great people to follow, because over time, that's going to break down, and your team and you is going to suffer, and your life is going to suffer from that. Now, that was a free snippet. That was on me on my soapbox. But, anyways, all of us gathered in our living room, looking at the screen and going through the goals. And it's like, wow, this is a goal we achieved, and that's a goal we achieved, and that's a goal we achieved. Well, we missed that one. We missed that one by a mile, but we got that one, and we got that one. And all these kids around, and they're looking at that, and they're rejoicing together with you. But remember, all of this started way, way long ago. It started back in 2009, when that poor young soldier was standing on that base in Germany, watching those fireworks over the runway in Germany and saying, this is not where I want to be. I was proud to be in the military at that time. I loved my term in the service, but it started with a broken person. And now, years and years later, leading to someone who has a multi-million dollar net worth, the company's running, and is multi-million, Taika Translations is a multi-million dollar company, and we have a big, beautiful family. Remember, I was alone and single at that time. Fast forward 16 years forwards, 16, 17 years forwards, and now all of a sudden, there's a big family in a beautiful living room, a wife that loves me, children that love us, and a full and happy life charging forward. Not everything is perfect, but it started from a place of brokenness. And from that point forwards, it was a gradual step by step process to grow to where we are today. And we've got much further to grow. But the point is, you start when you're broken. That's where everything begins. And you start there and charge forwards. Now, what I'm going to share with you is the exact methodology that I've used for all of these years, since 17 years ago to today. No matter the incredible changes in technology, no matter the AI and the chat bots and the agents that can do all of the work for you, I'm going to share with you what works. It's worked. It worked. I was taught this stuff by a multi-million, heck, billionaire now. I was taught this exact stuff by a billionaire now. Back then he was a millionaire. Now he's a billionaire. And I just took it and said, okay, I'm going to do it. So that might be you right now. You might not find yourself in $1 million position, but you could if you wanted to. And it could be in your future if you commit to the process that gets you there. And that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. All right. So now, I'm sorry. Do I have this on the screen? Yes, I do. All right. So first of all, I want to go through a very concise strategy that you'll be able to hopefully take some notes from and write down. All right, how come this is so small? Oh, this is so small. I cannot see it. Okay, well, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna open this up. Hold on. Let me open this a little bit on my screen so I can see a little bit better. And then I'll move to that. All right. First of all, you've got to spend a little time goal setting. What does that mean? It means you're going to have to spend some time thinking about what you want the future to look like. Because if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail, or you plan to be in the exact same position, or possibly even worse, because you're going to be a year older by 2020, end of 2026. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be in a better position, not worse. So if that's the case, then let's get started right now. And how we get started right now is sit down and start writing at the top of the page, what do you want the future of your life to look like? But not just in one single area and not just one blurb. Okay? Now you do a kind of a brain dump at the beginning because probably odds are you're not incredibly good at this yet. But you separate it into 7 areas. Business and leadership. What do you want to be true there? Well, you don't even want to have business. Fine. You don't want to have business, don't put a goal in that section. But you do need to acknowledge that there are 7 different areas of your life that you should have some intentionality in if you're going to make progress. Now, if you do want to own a business like me, then you're going to have to put some goals. What do you have to do first? Decide what kind of business you're going to be in and how much and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I've gone through in other videos that I'm not going to go through right now. But you start with a goal in that area. Okay, I actually have to decide what I'm going to sell. And then now go to the financial area. How much money do I want to make? How much money have I? And honestly, this sometimes is very difficult, especially for business owners. So if you're a business owner out there like me, then you look into the future and you're like, well, I'd like to make $500,000. And I think that we're absolutely capable of making that much money. However, for the past, you know, 12 to 18 months, maybe your income was closer to 100 or 70,000 per year, or 50. No, hopefully it's not less than that if you're running business. Anyways, but maybe your income was less. So what do you do when you look forward and you're just like, I think we're going to grow to this, but for the past 18 months, I really made something closer to $70,000 a year. But I think we're going to grow to like a lot. Okay. So what you do is you have your big goal and you look back over the past year, 12, I've just take 12 months. What has your last 12 months of income been? And start to make your goals based on that first. Because if you start to make your goals based on the income that you plan to actually achieve, you're going to start to really discourage yourself when you want to do a lot of things and you think you should be able to do a lot of things, but you can't because you haven't got the income to that level yet. And so you get discouraged in the work. And if you become discouraged as you go throughout this process, then you almost guarantee that you will never get to that larger income that you're after. And that's the kicker. You have to work with the resources that you have while aiming at the really high thing that you're going towards. And it might take you a few years to get there. For example, it took me a multiple years to get to a how do you say that? To get over 100, $200,000 in income. I mean, it took multiple years to get there. And so and then you might get to a period where you get knocked back to under that. And what are you going to do? Do you get discouraged? Do you get overwhelmed and sad because, well, I made $250,000 this year, but this year we made 100,000. That really sucks. Wait a minute, hold up, something ain't right. Maybe you got ungrateful, or maybe lifestyle creeps so big that you forgot that there was a time when you never operated for more than $100,000 per year, and now all of a sudden you did, and you start to become ungrateful, and you get discouraged. And if you allow that to happen, you guarantee that you will not go further in your growth cycle for your income. So don't let that become a reality. What you should do, take the past 12 months of income that you've made and start planning the year around that and do the best that you can with that income charging forwards. Now, it might happen that you will have a big windfall. You'll get some great contracts and you will expand that. You'll blow up your income. And in that instance, for example, my family has a goal to purchase a house. Of course, we have a house, but we want to purchase another house in another state. And so, what happens if you blow up your income and you manage to hit it in 2026, and you have more money than you have written into your goals? Well, in the financial section, so you might be it for you. It might be, well, we want to pay off our house. That's where the money goes. For me, it's I want to buy another house in this other state, and that's where the money's gonna go. All that money is gonna go to that place. It's not gonna go on Jason wants a new boat or Jason wants a new this or that. It's gonna go to that goal that we have determined that is our next big thing that we're accomplishing together as a family. So you should always have a goal that reaches out to the to that 5 year mark. You should have a vision that and a goal that goes further than that. But anyways, on your annual goals, if there is a large windfall of cash that comes in because you have been able to achieve something great in this forthcoming period that you didn't realize you were going to be able to, then the money goes to that big goal that you think is going to take you like 5 years. But now you just get to fast forward the process and do it in 1 year. And that's awesome. Right. But I just want to give you that piece because some of you, if you're already business owners out there, it makes it a little bit challenging to understand how to project forwards. Like, I'm really planning to make $500,000 next year. Okay, so if you're planning to make that, uh, do I make the budget based on that? No, you don't make the budget based on that. You make the budget based on the past 12 months and work vigorously towards making that income that you're after. So that's just a help there. I hope that kind of gives some clarity around that and kind of gives you something to project into onto your life so that helps you get some understanding with that part. Okay, so now business and leadership, financial, spiritual. All right, what's your relationship with God going to look like? How much you're planning to what is your what ministries or what things you're going to be involved in? All of us have a spiritual part of our life. We're body, soul, and spirit. Even if you're not religious or even if you don't go to church, you still have a spiritual aspect to your life. You can't completely ignore it. If you do, you're going to have a lot of drama and unwanted heat in this area. And if you have that, it's going to discourage you and keep you from being able to hit your goals. And that's what we're trying to guard against, not introduce more of into our lives. So now, business and leadership, financial, spiritual, physical. What condition do you want to be in? So many people find themselves fat or unhealthy or whatever, or back problems. I have suffered in my life from really bad back problems, from injuries that I've had doing previous things. I built a house in Texas, and during that building the house, I ridiculously injured my back really dumbly, and it really impacted my future. But by the way, I built another house after I built the house, and how have I done that? Because I said, "All right, my back is really in bad condition. There's not much I can do about that except go to get some help and exercise." So what do? I go to get some help and I exercise. In the morning when I wake up, what do? I do my stretch routine that lasts about 25 minutes, and it causes me to be able to limber up, strengthen those muscles, and charge into a day being productive, active, and agile like I need to be able to serve my family and our business. And you can do that too, but you've got to make the specific goal in your life to make that reality. Because when you wake up in pain day after day after day, you really start to get discouraged and say, I don't want any more of this. And then you start to baby that area of your back or that leg or whatever, or that under your shoulder blade in the back. I've had a lot of pain back up here as well in the past. I don't have it anymore because I've dealt with it. But that if you find yourself in that position, you can change it. And you can change it by doing the things required to get you there. If you found yourself severely overweight or moderately overweight, deal with it today. Put it on a goal and start charging forwards. I want to lose 20 pounds over the next 4 months. Okay, how are we going to lose it? Well, we're going to walk 5 miles a day. We're going to go to the gym 3 times a week, et cetera, et cetera. You know how to do this. This is not rocket science. All we have to do is understand what we want clearly, what we're willing to do to get there, and then ABCD, start the process. Now, there's a physical, there's intellectual section. What do I want to learn? What I want to grow into? What skills do I want to develop into by the end of 2026? Determine that. You determine at the beginning of the year. If you don't determine it until 6 months into the year, you will do nothing. And you'll be discouraged and disappointed with yourself at the end of the year because you did nothing. And so I remember when I was remember the story at the beginning of this session where I was standing on that balcony at Ramstein Air Force Base, looking across the flight line at this amazing array of fireworks, and I was like, I'm freaking alone, and I hate this, and I hate the position I'm in. I had to learn some stuff. I also had to learn how to build a relationship. I had to learn how to raise children. I had to learn how to have a family. I had to learn how to find a wife. All of those things, you're going to have to learn something so that you can grow to where you want to be, and that has to be part of your plan going forwards. Family, relationships, connections, and presence. How often are you going to be with your family? How often are you going to go somewhere? My wife and I determined after being in business for many years and sacrificing for many, many years that we wanted to go on, we wanted to do something for our family, or at least for our just to strengthen our own relationship and with our family at separate times of the year. So we decided every quarter that we're going to make sure that we set the budget and money aside to go do the thing we want to do to make sure that we go and deal with that need. And we're going to spend the specific time. It's going to be very family oriented. We're going to do all this stuff. And it's going to be awesome. Maybe we'll go fishing. Maybe we'll go hunting. Maybe we'll go to parks. Maybe whatever it is. We've got an upcoming trip in March, and not all of my family's going on that one, but part of my family's going on that one. And we're going to Florida. That's going to be an awesome time. Right. So then there's the social, community, friendship, and support systems. What other areas? What am I going to bring into my life socially and friendship wise? And what am I going to invest in my friendships? Because if you don't invest in your friendships, life is going to happen. You won't do it because you're busy and a high performing, hard charger, just like myself, and you won't do it. You won't spend time with the people that you deeply care about simply because they're busy, you're busy, and you don't do life together. So if you don't be intentional about that, decide when, where, and how you're going to do that starting at the beginning of the year, what you want to be a reality, then, and it just really helps if you say in the business and leadership, financial, spiritual, physical, intellectual, family, and social, if you take that and you say, what do I want to be true in this area of my life this year? Just write that underneath that, and then write 2 to 5 statements in each of those areas. And that will help you identify what the heck it is that you want to accomplish by the end of the year. Now, typically, after that, you're going to have to break it down a little further because it's not granular enough until you can work on every single week. Remember, if it's not something you can work on, actually take actions towards every single week, you won't do it. Now, we're moving forwards again. Again, guys, this is the exact method I used to go from the single guy standing watching those fireworks completely alone and broken to today having a multi-million dollar company, 8 children, a 16-year relationship with my wife, family that absolutely loves me, and we take care of each other, and we love spending life together. We do awesome things together. I mean, last year we just went on this amazing elk hunt with my son in the mountains in Utah, and it was just like he refers back to that with the most fond of memories. And I do too, because it was amazing. It was hard, it was challenging, but we had a great time. And all of these type of things, none of them would be in my life if I didn't start being intentional. And that's what I'm talking about in this video today. So I hope you're really getting that sentiment. And maybe you feel a little bit of energy from myself because I really believe this stuff. It really matters. It really changed things for me, and it'll change things for you too. All right. So here are the characteristics. The characteristics for goals that work. By the way, if you haven't liked the live on TikTok or on YouTube, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel, or follow me on TikTok and like the live. I would greatly appreciate that. That would mean the world to me. Please copy it and share the link with somebody who could use this information because it changes your life and it changes theirs. Now, the goals have to have this characteristic in order to work. They must be specific. Very, very specific. Now, on the screen, I'm going to pop up something for you. I'm going to take some of the goals that I extracted from my family's goal setting session this year. Okay, so here's some real goals that are part of what we are going to accomplish in 2026. They're not all the goals. It's not everything it's not everything that we're doing, but these are some very specific examples that you can take. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the strategy and other stuff in a little bit, but I want you to just take a really quick look at this. Goals, by the way, they're not perfect. And if you don't accomplish a goal, you know, it's something you wanted to do, you didn't accomplish it. It's not the freaking end of the world. It's okay. Okay. It's a goal. Now, some years, especially at the beginning, you have a little trouble accomplishing all the goals. Even this year, my family accomplished about 90ish% of our goals that we set out to accomplish, but we accomplished a heck of a lot of goals. This is just a snapshot of some of the goals on our goal sheet this year. So we have a specific amount of money that we want to produce in this cattle company, this SIA cattle company that we have. And we have a specific amount of revenue that needs to be produced in that company by the 1st of December. This is on our cattle ranch. And then we have this is how many pregnant cows that we want to make sure that it exists in our herd by the end of 2026. And here's our birth goal. We want to have 70 cows. So I think currently I'm in the realm of 70 to 80 cows that are pregnant on our farm right now. Of course, we have different cows in different herds and heifers and up and replacement heifers and things like that. But anyways, the actual pregnant animals right now are about 70 of them. And hopefully we're going to have very successful, safe births by the 1st of August so that those can go to the sale in the fall. Right. And then we want 100% rebreed season. So that means all the cows that I have in every herd, I want to make sure that they're all rebred by the end of the year and that we don't have any stragglers not being rebred. All right. Now, from one of my children, he has a chicken farm at my house. I appreciate value living in the country and enjoying that aspect of life. And so my son, he wants to restart the chicken operation by the 1st of May because this past year a lot of hawks and birds ate some of his chickens. And so now he's like, well, I need a completely new flock by the 1st of May. We're going to restart that chicken operation by the 1st of May. All right, we're going to do that. Here's one experience we want to do together with our family. We want to do a fishing experience by the 1st of December with our family. That's probably going to happen in Georgia or Tennessee, something like that. We want to do a fishing experience. All of my children, they really want to go fishing. They love fishing and they want to make sure that this is a part of the year. Okay, we're going to work that into our goal. We're going to do a very specific thing, do a fishing experience. That means we understand what that means as our family and all the details involved with that. And this is the date by which we're going to do it. Okay. Now, Benjamin, my oldest son, he wants to maintain $1,000 in his bank account. He also wants to save $2,500 for a car by the 1st of December. And how is that going to happen? Is it going to happen if he's not intentional? Heck no, it's not going to happen. Is it going to happen if he doesn't work really hard? Heck no, it's not going to happen. He also wants to buy some AirPods, and he also invest. He doesn't have a date for his AirPods. We're going to have to add that. I know he wanted to do that by like the 1st of July. I guess I just didn't copy it over here. Anyway, now I'm messing up my thing. Come on, Jason, get this. So he also wants to invest a little money to make sure that he's practicing that investment muscle at an early age, and so he does that. So he invested about that much last year. He wants to invest the same this year, and he's 15 years old, and he's starting this goal setting thing. And I got my children to start with this goal setting thing simply because I didn't want them to be that guy standing on a balcony completely alone on New Year's. That's who I didn't want them to be. And I wanted them to learn what it takes to build the life that you want, to be able to not to be that guy. Hi there, David. I see you joined. David joined. I just talked to David the other day, and he told me that his screen name was this KRUT or KRYTO screen name. I see you there, David. Nice to see you on here. All right, so now you can learn how to make some goals. All right, so my other son, my second son, Samuel, he says I want to get a B+ on all grades for the school year by this date. We homeschool, so our year doesn't have to follow the exact year that normal school months follow. But anyway, so that and a lot of times we travel in between some of the sessions, and so he wants to finish with a B+ in all grades for the school year by the 1st of July. Great, I love it, and it's his goal, not mine. I didn't make that goal for him. I was sitting in the goal setting set in the goal setting session with my children. And by the way, I was trying to go through it really quickly so that they didn't become all miserable. And I was going through the goal setting session with them. My children, 8 children, all in this big living room that I have with the goal set it on the screen. And my son Samuel, he says, I want to maintain a B plus average in all of my grades across the board for this year, and I want to be done by this date. Heck yeah! I mean, do you know many students that have a clear and very definite goal for their grade point average for the year? I know people that say, well, I'd like to make like a B in all my classes. But somebody who was, I mean, this kid is just turned 14. He turned 14 in November 26th, just after Thanksgiving. And he wants to make a B plus. Heck yeah. I love that as a father that my child understands what it takes to succeed in an area of his life and understands that from his own volition that he should desire to accomplish something meaningful in his own life. So okay, so Timothy, this is the 13 year. He's either 12 or 13. Anyways, he wants to save $250 for a laptop that he wants to buy next year. This is Timothy. He not in 2026. He wants to buy this in 2027. So he wants to save $250 for a laptop and $100 for Christmas presents. He has some other goals. This is actually the one with the chicken farm. But I just extracted a few of their goals so that you could see that it's not some kind of hocus pocus. It's not some kind of, well, I can't do that. It's not some kind of, well, I don't know how to do great goals. It is it is me deciding to be intentional about my life in the areas of life that matter to me and make life great. And when you do that, you achieve so much more value and fulfillment out of every single thing that you do. Okay. All right. So let's continue down the line. Timothy, that another goal here is do weekly dates with Maggie. This is my goal. This is one of my goals. Starting from the second week of January. My wife and I, we've tried to do dates consistently, and we got a little bit off of our date set, our date cycle this past 2 months. And I want to make sure that we bring that back and really concrete it in that we really do our best to go on a date every single week. My oldest son, was Samuel or was Benjamin? No, I know who my oldest son is. I just mean my son Samuel. I think it was my son Samuel. He's like, what? You still go on dates after you're married? I was like, heck yes, you go on dates after you're married. In fact, the dates you do after you're married are way better than the dates you do before you're married. So we had a really cool conversation there. Anyways, but that's a goal for me. I want to make sure that that happens and that stays a part of my life because it's an area of life I deeply care about. I've been married for 16 years. I want that to get better and better and better. It doesn't get worse, by the way, with time. It gets way better. And that's the great, incredible blessing about my relationship with my wife is that I mean, I it is so much better now than it was like 12 years ago. I can't even imagine like thinking back to 12 years ago being married. It's like, well, this was really great. This is amazing. But now it's so much better than it was back then. And your marriage should be getting better too. And if it's not, it's your fault because you're not paying attention. Now, stop letting it be your fault and start paying attention, be intentional, and make it awesome. All right, going on. Ah, one of my remember, I love deer hunting, and so one of my big goals for this kind of spend money on yourself kind of thing for the year is to buy a gun. I want to buy a 7 millimeter PRC by the end of 2026. And so, if I have that gun, we've had a pretty good year because I don't do this goal unless I've had a really great year and we've achieved I'm like 98% of all the rest of the goals. So, anyways, that's a part of my goal for the forthcoming year. And something that you just need to be aware of is it's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's just not you being genius and somehow knowing something that everybody else does not. It's about you knowing the areas of life that you need to make the goals in. And it means you being intentional about those things. Now, it's about being intentional about what matters most. To create a life you love, to not end the year with any regrets. It's about you being intentional about what matters most. to you. And that is being specific, being measurable, having a time limit, writing them down, and making sure the goals belong to you. Because if they don't, you will not achieve the goals and you will end the year and look back and say, man, I didn't get anywhere closer to where I wanted to be. I have had a tough year in some areas of my life. I have an amazing year in the others areas of my life. And how is that possible? And the year has been unbelievably fulfilling. It's been hard as heck. And sacrifice has been deep this year. But it's been completely fulfilling because we knew what we were after. We started charging forwards and we started to make, and we made a reality of those things that we had control over. And we made sure that all the things that we were spending time on are the things that would produce what we ultimately wanted to be reality for us. Now we need to get on the goal making. Yeah, that's right, Shanna. Heck yeah. It's my phrase for when I super agree. All right. Reflecting. Okay. Now, yeah, okay. This is another point. I had this on my notes and I wanted to make sure I shared this. The heart, the Bible says, I'm a Christian. I love God. So Bible is the ontic referent for everything that I do. So the Bible says this: the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. Be careful to hear that well. The heart of man establishes his way. You have a desire in your heart for what you want to be reality in your life. And the Lord directs, the Lord establishes his steps. You're going to establish the way you want to go. You're going to create this the goals for your life. And then you're going to start charging forwards and things are going to happen in life. They're going to happen in against you or for you. Sometimes they will speed up a process that you thought was going to take 3 years and now all of a sudden it happens in 1 or 6 months when you thought it was going to take 3 years. But it also might be the case that you thought you were going to be here and you've been greatly hemmed in, slowed down, and because of all of the constraints that are put on that you've encountered in life this year, it's been hard. It's been more difficult. Things didn't happen as fast as we thought they were going to happen. Things the maybe you didn't get the job, the you didn't get accepted into the school or what have you, and there's a deviation in your path. But you had all of these things that you're working towards. And if you don't get kicked off of your trail, if you just stay on the boat and you have a clear path forward, what you want to accomplish and how you can work on that every single week, you will get closer to where you want to be. And you guaranteed sure, will create an incredible amount of fulfillment in your life because you've been intentional about what you want. And goal setting is simply that. It's you being laser focused, intentional about what it is you want to be reality. So many are not. And that's the tragedy of today. We get distracted by the phone. We get distracted by the signs on the side of the road. We get distracted by that shiny new thing. We are bombarded with advertisements. In fact, on the TikToks and on the social media, it is one of that is the number one thing that they want you to do. Like on TikTok, on YouTube, where you're maybe watching right now, they want us as creators to make people watch more on their platform, retention rate or viewership rate. That's what they want, that more than anything else, that people watch your content for longer on their platform. And so the world is just grasping for your attention on every side. And the reason is they know that whatever you spend your time thinking about and looking at, that ultimately your life is going to move in that direction. And your biggest talent and skill is if you can grasp that and create that clarity for your life and think about it early and often and keep it in front of your eyes, your life is going to move in that direction. And when it does, you will achieve this amazing level of fulfillment. Relationships will be stronger, and you will not look back on the year ever again and say, man, this year was terrible and I didn't accomplish anything that I set out to accomplish. And I've not gotten any closer in any area of my life that matters most. And so that's why I'm setting this message out today, because I think a lot of people are taking this, they take this, they're, first of all, you're off of work today and you're thinking about the year ahead, you're thinking about the year gone by. And I don't want you to get to the end of 2026 with any regrets. I want you to charge forwards for things that matter to you. Some of them are not going to work. A lot of them are. But if you're intentional about it and you're clear and you're honest and open with yourself, you can achieve more in just a couple of years than you ever thought you could in your entire life. Most people vastly underestimate what they can accomplish in their life in a 3 year period of time. A lot of people overestimate what they can accomplish in 12 months, but they vastly underestimate what could be reality in your life and mine in a period of 3 to 5 years. And so I want you to get that clarity in your soul, to feel it in your bones, and to start driving forwards into more of the life that you want to have. And so that's why I wanted to do this broadcast today in this kind of reminiscing fashion, because you have to give yourself the framework in order to prosper. Make the goals in the 7 areas, make sure they have the 5 characteristics, and make sure you remember you the heart of man plans his way, and God directs his steps powerfully and intentionally every day. But you have to grasp that intentionality. You have to grasp that your own attention and focus it for the benefit of your family, your life, and for those who are going with you. Now, one final piece. This is kind of like a bonus piece of information here at the end, and I hope you pay attention to this, because this is something that I had to learn more of the hard way than anything else. Um, because of the factor of us getting distracted. Now, again, we talked about the goals, we talked about those types of things, how to set those things up, and how to not create this year with regret. And by the way, I'm going to continue talking about this stuff. If you haven't done so already, like the live and follow us on the channels, because I was that lonely person at one time, broken and completely separated from all connections. And I decided to change. And and because of that change, it's created so much beauty in my life. Now, there is one aspect that you have to be very careful of when you start to achieve levels of success. For example, you went from a $50,000 income and now all of a sudden you're making $100,000. Oh my gosh, that's freaking amazing. You're like in the top 10% of the entire earth in your wealth building journey. Like most people don't make that much money in the entire globe. Okay. You might not feel that rich, but if you made that transition, all of a sudden, oh, my live says it needs to me to do this thing. All right, real quick. Boom. All of a sudden, you have more opportunities around you. And Karina, you might go ahead and bring this up on the screen real quick, because it's in that same slide. Oh, wait a minute. Is that on? Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it's going to be on the same slide, or that same, not slide, but anyways. All right. This is a very important thing that I want to show you. You're going to achieve some level of success in life. If you do what I just talked about today, if you just take the information from this session today, you're going to achieve some level of success. You're going to move from that 50,000 to that $100,000 income, or whatever it is that you're after, 100,000 to 200,000, 500,000, whatever it is. And you achieve that level of success. And all of a sudden, there's going to be opportunities all around you that are going to distract and detract from what it is that you have been doing to get you where you are. Temptation will be to stop making goals And the temptation will be to get distracted because now you feel this kind of essence of pride in your life about, well, I moved myself from here to here, and now I have all these opportunities to invest in stupid stuff that loses freaking money. And that is the warning that I want to tell you right now, that you will achieve a certain level of growth and you will get so freaking distracted by the opportunities that surround you that you will very likely lose money in the forthcoming years by doing stupid stuff that wasn't what you were starting to what initially got you to that place of success. And so, after you've made your goals and after you've plainly set them out in all the areas of your life for this year, you need to write a strategy. And this is something that I learned from one of a number of business teachers. But on the screen, if you I don't know if you can see it. If you're on the YouTube live, you can. Not on TikTok, but on the YouTube live, I have it on the screen. And what your strategy is, what you do to get where you want to go, but in a statement form that provides laser focus clarity on what you do, and more importantly, what you don't do. And if it is not here, you don't freaking do it. And if it comes at that you might be like it might should be a good part of your life going forwards, then we eventually turn it into a goal and have a strategy that causes us to prosper in that. But be very, very careful after you achieve any level of success to get distracted by what freaking doesn't work. And I've had this happen in my life, which is why I've written this down. I achieved some levels of success, and all of a sudden I got distracted and I started to dabble into other stupid stuff. FBA, Amazon FBA was one of them. They're they're a nice system. Maybe some people can make money there. Really screwed me up. It took a lot of focus, time, and effort that I could have spent on our business, growing our business. And this was way back when. Different types of things. Um, and so you can get caught up and distracted by all of these other things that detract from the thing that got you where you are. And it's like, so the idea is dance with the girl who brought you to the party. Okay. Don't get distracted by the girl in the red dress who's at the party as well, but dance with the girl who came with you to the party. So your strategy is what you do to get where you want to go, and helps you also understand what you should not do when that girl in the red dress is standing over there at the party. You don't go over there. You have a girl. You came to the party with this girl. You stay with her. You don't go over there and look for another one. Now, build God loving children and a strong family. This was first for me. Okay. This is up on the screen. You can look at it on YouTube, on the YouTube live right now. This was first for me and very, very important, because if you put build a $1 billion company at the top, then that's what's going to be your focus. And that's what you're going to be working on all the time, bar none. But for me, what was more important, what gives me the stamina to continue the test of time and be the leader I need to be for my family, for my team, and for everyone else that depends on me in my life, I have to build a God-loving children and a strong family. And I can't do that if all of my goals are focused around achievement. Okay? So that was first. Making sure that I reminded myself, this is how I win in life. I love this phrase from John Maxwell. He said, the people who know me best, the people who know me best, most intimately, love and respect me the most. That is my definition of success. That was John Maxwell. The people who love me most intimately, the people who know me most intimately, love and respect me the most. And so if you do all of this other stuff and you lose your family, then you've lost everything. And so for me, build God-loving children and a strong family. That was first. Second, this is where we invest. I had to train myself. This is how you invest, because there are a million ways to invest and grow. Jason or our family invests aggressively in our companies, Taika Translations LLC and TVP. in mutual funds and in real estate. That's our investment. Now you can invest in a million other things. I don't care. If you want to do that, it's fine. And it's not wrong. It's fine for you. But we do this. And this is how we've grown our wealth. This is what took us from a zero net worth to a multi-million dollar net worth. This is it. Aggressively in companies, mutual funds, and real estate. That's what's taken us from there to there. That's the girl we're dancing with because she brought us to the party and we're dancing with that girl for a really long time till I die. All right. And then enhance the value of our estate. This is also a way we've grown our wealth is by enhancing the value of the estate by buying the land around those properties that we own and property improvements. And this keeps me focused. You can, you will get so, you will get so distracted by the amount of opportunities that arise and that you just want to dabble in. You want to get an Airbnb or you want to do some kind of drop shipping or Amazon FBA or somebody asks you to go into business with them. Oh my gosh, it's the worst idea ever. Everything's going to work out perfectly. It's not going to work out perfectly. So, this is what keeps me focused when new opportunities arise throughout the year that cause me to become distracted from our strategy. Because I view this document so early and often throughout the year, I know that our strategy is build God loving children, a strong family. Anything that detracts from me being able to do that doesn't get done. Invest aggressively in the companies, Taika Translations LLC, TVP Team LLC, and the mutual funds and real estate, and enhance the value of our real estate by property improvements. That's what got us to where we are today. And changing that because we became more intelligent or intellectuals all of a sudden, it just means you got a lot stupider. You have more resources, but you got a lot more stupid. So don't let that become a reality for you. So the strategy is simply you writing down, maybe you write down who was the girl that brought me to the party. And maybe also write down, okay, what are red dress type situations in my life? What are the girls in the red dress type situations in my life? I know it's a simple analogy, but it really has a powerful outcome because as you achieve different levels of success, then you actually encounter those situations more and more and more. And it never goes away. That never goes away. The more successful you get, the more multi-million dollar operation, the bigger your operation gets, that's always there. And so you always have to have the strategy to keep you on track. And so I just want to deliver that to you because it's a very powerful piece. After you've actually practiced this for a long period of time, then and you get good at it and you start to get some really good feedback or even capital from it, then this is a big and very dangerous a very dangerous eventuality if you don't know it. Okay. Yeah, this one just popped off the bottom of the page, but the last one, I was wondering where it went. The last one is ensure all business operations are profitable. And for us, that's where we focus all of our efforts on. All of these must be a reality at all times of our year to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. And if we have allowed our time to be spent on anything else, then we're detracting or we're taking focus off of where we should be taking focus and focusing on what we should not. And that is causing a detriment to our work. Hey, look, I got a little guy joining me today. Hi, Mark. Let me call somebody to help real quick. Hey, can somebody come check Mark out? He wants to join the live stream. Do you want to join the live stream, Mark? You want to join the live stream, buddy? And right now? He shook his head no. He's like, no, I definitely don't want to. He's 1.5. Somebody come get Mark, please. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that little interruption there. I'm about to go downstairs and have a celebration with my family for New Year's. And if you've got anything valuable out of this content that I showed today, please copy the link where you watched it and share it with somebody who you think needs it. Because I think the most valuable thing that we can do with things that helped us is to share those with others. And so copy the link, share it with others. And I got a little guy crying behind me. I gotta figure this out. Get him downstairs, please. All right, he's going slowly but surely. If you haven't done so already, please copy it and send it to somebody that you care about, and hopefully I can be a part of helping them get where they want to go. And if this has helped you in any way, please like the video. If you've got any like the live, I see a lot of people have liked the live on TikTok, and I greatly appreciate that. Um, and follow me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube, and this is not a one and done thing. I help people all year long to achieve goals and to get the place into in their life where they're not where they really want to go. And so if you're not there right now, then hang out with me throughout the year, because success is a constant drum beating, driving to clarity day after day, month after month, week after week after week, in a direction that you want to go. And so, if you want to go on that journey and grow together with us, then please like and follow and subscribe and become part of that journey. And I hope that in some very special way that I can help you along in your journey as you grow to become more prosperous or more successful in your relationships and in your business and in your personal finance in different areas of your life. And if you have any questions at all, I would be very, very grateful if you would drop them in the comments or direct message us on maybe the TikTok platform or the YouTube. Um, you can find our email there, and put a comment in any of the videos that really are beneficial to you, and then just interact with us any way you can on the socials, and that will help us to achieve our growth goals for the socials going into 2026. Because right now we're also we've worked on and set lots of goals for our social channels going into 2026. We started this 1 year ago. We've had an incredible growth this year in all of the channels, and we're so grateful to see that. But we've got a really long way to go. When you go from one to multiple hundreds in a year, then that's pretty freaking awesome. But obviously, we need to get much bigger than that. So if you would help us by sharing and just liking and commenting, and that would I would greatly appreciate that. And we're gonna work to help as many people as we possibly can. So if anybody has any questions right now, feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, in about 45 seconds, I'm gonna hop off. All right. So guys, thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's really been cool to see popping in and out of the TikTok, and I don't know if anybody's been hanging out with us on the YouTube live, but if you have been, that's I'm so grateful for you for being here, and I really hope that we've been a help to you. All right. Unless we have a question, Karina, if we have any questions or comments that I need to reply to, unless we have, I'm going to be jumping off. And I wish you a very happy and prosperous new year, a year where you have gotten the most clarity and intentionality on everything that you're doing in your life, moving you to where you want to be. And I hope that in some special way, I get to be part of that and see you shine. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.